The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of the New Media Factory. Some programs on this network might include strong images and language and may not be suitable for all audiences. Viewer discretion is advised.
Everybody get up.
Good evening and welcome to the Girls of 28A. I am Tricia Centenera and I am here in lovely rainy Manila. And that is Julia Snagowski, all the way from LA. How are you, Julia?
Hi, everybody.
It's really early there. What time is it?
It is 5:13 a.m. on a Sunday morning.
Well, at least you can go back to sleep and dream of us.
Yeah, I will. I'll dream that I'm back in Manila with all my friends.
So for you guys who don't know, Julia is actually finishing her university degree, so she will be joining us via Skycam from LA. I am at the Beyond the Box Studios in One Rockwell Makati in Manila. So this is how we're doing it from now on. We don't have any host picks. Sorry,
guys.
I was just told I'm looking at the wrong camera the entire time. No host picks for this week. Julia, any funny stories from LA?
Funny stories, not really. Mostly just everyone's good looking here. Everyone's young. I feel very not cool and old. I'm that girl that eats alone in the cafeteria.
Are you really?
Sometimes yes, but it's okay. Like,
you're bringing back the meaning of geek chic. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, totally. But I'm like but when yeah, definitely. But I don't know. I'm over it. Like being cool in school only matters when you're really young, and then when you have as much homework as I do, you just stop caring about anything else in life.
Oh gosh. Oh wow. Okay, well, good luck with all your homework. I'll speak to you about it off camera. Okay, so joining us tonight, Julia, do you want to introduce?
Yes, my very, very best friend from Rio de Janeiro. She's the beautiful model, entrepreneur, fledgling trader about to take over business as you know it in the Philippines. She was also one of the contestants on Brazil's Next Top Model Cycle 4, I believe.
Cycle 2.
2.
Mm-hmm.
2. The beautiful, talented, and you know what? Has a beautiful heart to match that beautiful face, Marianna.
So we have got a video. Check this out. So welcome, Marianna. So Marianna's actually been on before, but we've actually invited her back for the topic tonight. But hi.
Hi guys, good evening. So tonight we are talking about modeling and models being skinny.
Yes, models being too thin. So as I said, the reason why we've asked Marianna to come on, as Julia said, she was one of the contestants on Brazil's Next Top Model. She's been modeling, as Julia has been as well, since they were really quite young. And what campaigns have you done?
Oh well, now I'm based in the Philippines, and here I've done facial care center. I've done, as you can see, Squire, Shape. I've done Biotherm, and a lot of other commercials like Downy, CDO,
and a corned beef.
What?
Corned beef.
Corned beef, yeah. And in Brazil, I've done like hair commercials, even here for Sunsilk. And yeah, I've been runways before, now not anymore.
So you're a good person to add to our pairing with Julia and I tonight to talk about models being too thin on the catwalk at the moment. So that's the topic for tonight. Fashion Week started a few days ago in New York, and it is hot topic. So basically what's happened is it's been brought to everyone's attention that there's an international movement happening at the moment. People are wanting to improve the health and well-being of models in beauty and in fashion. And here on the Girls of 28A, you know, Julia and I really like to just raise awareness and make sure everybody kind of knows what's going on, especially with what we do. So let's get into this, shall we?
Yeah, and I think it's an age-old question, right? Are models too thin? Do they perpetuate eating disorders? Also, I know that Israel has now put a BMI index on the models you can hire. It has to be above
18.
Is it 15?
18.
You know, Europe has done that before also. It's been something, we've been discussing about it for so long. But it's just, some designers are worried about it, but most of them don't care. And don't even want to talk about it. And, well, in the end of the day, if you work for a good company, you end up going to the doctor and they take care of your health. But as a model, nobody really takes care of your health, or they don't care what you eat as long as you are feeding their clothes. It's really like a hanger.
Yeah. Okay, well, basically the question is, you know, when is it too thin to be able to strut down the catwalk for Fashion Week? Some of these, they're saying that they've always been thin, these models, but strutting down the runway this year they're just downright too skeletal, they're too thin, and there are just some important people who are actually speaking up about it now. So check this video out and see what they have to say.
Hip bones, rib cage, rehab, teenage, fasting, stop trying, not eating, then dying. You're selfish, you're homeless, you're hungry and hopeless, stupid, tired, caffeine, wired. Webcam journal, website circle, form secrets, can you keep it? Therapy, cut to bleed. Can't you see what you did to me? Hair thin, pathogen, blamed it on fake best friend, society made you fat. Girl, what's the deal with that?
The quest for a skeletal frame in the fashion world has been mocked in movies like The Devil Wears Prada.
I'm just one stomach flew away from my goal weight.
But have you ever wondered what fashion models really do to stay so thin?
I have seen, you know, especially for the runway shows in Europe, you know, some of the girls go to extremes not to gain weight. It was kind of all behind the scenes, so you didn't really see it and you didn't really talk about it.
And none of the girls here eat anything?
Not since 2 became the new 4 and 0 became the new 2.
The world's top fashion magazine editors have known the skinny behind the wispy waistlines of models for years. But the chic queens behind fashion's famous front pages are known for keeping their lips sealed. But now, in a new tell-all, The Vogue Factor, author and former Australian Vogue editor Christy Clemens reveals how some models resort to eating tissues to curb hunger pains in hopes of staying, quote, Paris thin.
I have definitely seen the uglier side of eating disorders with the modelling industry, and I think the means that some of them use to get there, obviously very unhealthy.
I am a little surprised that a Vogue editor is actually speaking out about it, because usually these are just things that we just know about but we never talk about.
Clements claims that some models often starve themselves for days, claiming one even visited the hospital 6 months out of the year using hospital drips in place of food.
Anybody that's seen an eating disorder and seen their daughter or a member of the family go through that knows the consequences of it and how ugly it is. You know, I felt terrible. I felt very complicit to be.
Okay, so ex-Vogue editor Christy Clements is claiming that all these issues are happening, and she's put it in a book, in a tell-all book. She says that it's not a lash out for being fired last year. So, Julia, what do you think?
Well, I mean, I agree that especially, you know, not so much in the Philippines, but working internationally, you're definitely exposed to a lot of girls that take the being thin thing to extremes. But that's where, how do you regulate something like that? Especially as we've talked about before, designers want thin, and
Too young, you end up getting too involved into the fashion world, and you want to do your best, you want to become Kate Moss, and you are going to do crazy diets, you're going to stop eating, you're going to take medicines, and this happens, and nobody wants to talk about it. And a lot of people, they just don't care. You know, after all,
Yeah,
it's
but
not
to
your
say that all
daughter, it's
13-year-olds
someone
take
else.
medicine isn't true. But yeah, I agree. I don't think that we should have a 13. But that's the thing. I started modeling when I was 11. But this was commercial print modeling in California, so it's for, you know, Sanrio, it's for Disney Channel. It's not fashion. So I think so I have a very different experience from the high fashion Russian 13-year-old. But yeah, I agree that there should be guidelines on how young a model, you know, there should be an age restriction. I agree. Definitely maybe
Because
16.
you know, even though
There are health requirements now though. Sorry, but go.
but I don't think they're really followed, Trish.
No, because they're just this is the thing. So there are health requirements now that have been put into play. Israel were the first ones to go with that, and then New York has followed, and Europe has followed, and Vogue has actually now put out a statement. There are 19 editors who are all standing up against this. No models under 16 years old are allowed. No, not allowed to hire girls under the BMI index of 18 or below. Designers are encouraged to feed models backstage and create a more healthy backstage working environment. But in saying this, these are guidelines, they're not laws. So you can pretty much do whatever you want. You can stand there and say, yes, I will follow these rules for the sake of not getting bad press. But then a couple months later down the track, the same thing's going to happen.
About it.
So one designer even resorted to weighing the models that he was going to pick for his shows because he just didn't want to get bad press. And in saying that, then there's a whole other issue of Betsy Johnson, she's a designer, said it's not her style to weigh models. This is quote Betsy Johnson, having a more healthy approach is great and one thing, but treating the girls like jockeys and making them do weigh-ins is terrible. So
I agree.
How would you guys feel if you had to go to your agency every week and be weighed or...
You know, it happens.
We've
It
had to,
happens.
yeah.
When
It's
I
part
was
of
in
the deal.
Singapore before, every day I would have to go to the agency, and I want it so bad. So, well, there is a kind of water, it's called desalated water, and people takes it, so then you don't absorb, there is no salt in your body anymore.
Oh,
so
okay.
then you won't keep the water too
retention.
long. Yes. That's all I would drink for 3 days, and I would try to eat the minimum. Only when my mom comes and say eat it, I would eat just a little bit before the show, and I end up getting sick because one of those times I took a medicine, and
A
that
medicine
was,
as in like a diet pill?
yes, a diet pill that was actually prescribed by a doctor.
Oh.
But
What? A doctor prescribed you a diet pill?
Yes, he did. And I took it for 15 days right before the fashion week. I really got really thin. Everybody was amazed. Oh my God, Marianna, you have the perfect body. But right after, I got really sick. And I was in the hospital for 20 days because of that.
20 days?
Yes. That's when I actually realized that I don't want to be the skinny model in the runway if my body wasn't made like that. You know?
Because there are definitely girls who were just simply made that way. They are super, because you're 173 centimeters tall?
175.
So 175,
Yeah.
gosh, you're even taller than I thought. There are girls who are built that way, like Miranda Kerr built that way, definitely. Giselle Bunchkin built that way. You know. But yeah, so there are runway models. They were born that way. So then you're saying that you would rather not do that kind of modeling if you have to live that way.
Exactly.
Okay.
I realized, this was São Paulo Fashion Week, 2010.
And your collarbone is just really jutting out. And
I never really had a problem with arms, but my legs were really bigger and my hips, because you must be 89 centimeters, and I would be like 92, 91. So this is like 3 kilos that you should lose, and I found a way that would be like I wouldn't eat for a few days before, but it's not healthy. It's
Yeah.
really bad. And I remember by that time, I really used to think that that's the perfect body. And how come I don't have the perfect body, you know?
But wait, how old were you then?
19.
Okay, so you're a teenager. It all comes back down to what we were saying before, Julia, it comes down to age. You know, is 16 old enough to be putting girls onto the runway? Because you're 19 and you're still going through all of this.
Yeah.
So,
Well, that's the thing. I don't really think that you can monitor things like that, because to lump all models into saying, oh, you know, the the standard is too thin, so everyone's developing eating disorders. Of course not. There are a lot of girls that do, but, you know, what's her face? Carly Kloss. Like, she's known to sell cookies backstage. Like, I don't think that she has an eating we don't know, but you know, to lump everyone into saying, okay, now we're going to set these rigid guidelines, and we've seen that they don't work. So, I mean, I guess I think agencies need to take better care of their models. You know, agencies need to not bring in 14-year-olds for high fashion and not book 14-year-olds for high fashion. You know, it's your booker, it's your manager that you're working with on a daily level. Those are the people that need to be involved in making sure that their asset, which is you, is healthy.
Yeah, but you know, it doesn't cause an effect only models. People out there, they looking like to those models in the runway, they are so skinny, and they would just be like, I want to be that way.
Aspiring to be like these super
exactly,
thin
and
girls.
that's wrong.
Yeah.
You should be inspired to be happy the way you were born, you know?
That's very true.
Yeah, but I think that argument can go both ways as well, because I know, you know, especially here in America, guys, I see a lot of bigger people, and it's because the portions are insanely massive. And, you know, women who are actually, you know, not morbidly obese, but halfway there, they're saying, oh, you know, you got to love your curves. And it's like, no, you got to embrace health. So I think the argument can really be swung both ways.
Okay. Well, when we come back, we have got another video which actually will complement what you were just saying, Julia. We will see you guys when we come back from this short break.
I don't know if you guys are familiar with a game Chubby Bunny, but have you played Chubby Bunny before?
No.
You put a marshmallow in your mouth, you say Chubby Bunny, and you keep putting it in your mouth, and you keep saying Chubby Bunny.
Okay.
Whoever can fit the most in their mouth wins. But we're not gonna say Chubby Bunny. We're gonna have a conversation.
Okay.
Perfect. Yeah. So I'm gonna ask you, okay ka na ba?
Okay.
And you're gonna be like, okay na.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Go.
2 at a time.
Okay, I'll learn 2 at a time. Okay ka na ba? What?
Okay na.
Good.
I just saw it.
Okay ka na ba?
Okay na.
Okay ka na ba?
Okay na.
What? Okay. No, that's disgusting.
Welcome back to the Girls of 28A. We are talking about when it is too thin to strut your stuff down the catwalk, or when models are just simply too thin. We have got Marianna Hanud. She is a Brazilian model from Brazilia's Next Top Model. She's based here now. We have Julia Snigowski in LA, and we are here in Manila. So we have got another video just to show you guys who've just tuned in to see what we're actually talking about today. And I just want to let you guys all know that all the videos that we're showing, sorry we haven't been saying it, but there are some disturbing images and things like that. So just letting you know. So check this video out.
Are models too thin? It's a hot question these days, generating international headlines and stirring up debate within the fashion world.
Thin models. I mean, I think that I've been interviewed more this week, Fashion Week, on skinny models and fashion trends.
It's hardly a new story. Pop culture has been influencing society's idea of the perfect female form for years, but never has the ideal been so ultra-thin.
People started getting worried a few years ago as images of size 0 runway models and celebrities began to dominate the media.
So Julie, you were saying before the break that you think that it is more so up to the responsibility of management to help these younger girls out, considering that 16 is the age cutoff.
I mean, ideally, clients don't book thin girls or young girls, but it's it's your agency that really deals with these girls on a daily basis. So I think that it should be there for, and agencies already have habits of weighing girls, of checking their measurements, like Mari was saying in Singapore. So I think the agencies need to do that, but in promoting a healthier roster so that when clients look at their roster of models to choose from, they have healthier options.
So you're quite thin.
Yes.
What kind of accusations in that have you been accused of?
At least nothing to my face. I'm sure people would say behind my back that I have an eating disorder, but I guess that's why it's a bit difficult for me because coming from my side, I am super thin, and I probably don't perpetuate the healthiest of body images, and to young girls out there that might see my super thin frame, especially if it's not feasible for them to be built like me. But so for me, it's a bit difficult to say because yes, a lot of girls have to work extremely hard at not eating in order to have a thin frame. But for me, I feel like, maybe I don't have an appetite of a horse, but I feel like I'm pretty healthy, and I'm actively pursuing health in what I choose to eat.
I think it comes down to as well, you've got a thin body, you're vegan, everybody knows that, but you've got quite a healthy face. I think that for me is how I can tell that you are healthy, and I've lived with you. I know what you eat, and I know what you're like. You eat just as much as me. So I think that it really comes down to.
Yeah, I think you do look healthy, Ju, and
because I am.
You are, no, we're not saying that you're not. We're not saying that you're not. That's what I'm saying.
Person by person. It's not everybody that is built with your body, Ju,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's unfair to say. It's unfair that girls who can't be naturally thin have to work so hard to starve themselves to fit that.
I just think the agencies, they should stop and talk to the parents of those girls and talk to those girls and say, look, you're gonna be a model for this. Because when I stop with this crazy thing of not eating and being a fashion runway model, I start traveling, and sometimes I do runway, but I decide the commercials would be my best and print ads. So that's what I've been doing, and I'm pretty successful in it. So I think the agency can guide the model, which one is your way.
Wait, but you guys don't think that at any stage the designer is held a little bit responsible for?
No. They should definitely.
Yeah.
But I think that it's a bit harder to manage what these designers are.
It's hard because they're such big celebrities themselves.
Exactly, but H&M, they put a bigger girl in their campaign.
What
was amazing.
There is a bigger girl.
Because people is different, so that's how it should be. There are pretty women that are bigger than us, and why can't they be models?
Well, actress Raquel Welch, she actually came out to say that it's not the fault of the managers and it's not the fault of the models. It's actually the designers who should be held responsible for this, because they are making sample sizes and sizes for unrealistic body images. But then Michael Kors turned around and he was like, well, no, that's bullshit, because on my catwalk I have the sample size girls, which is a standard catwalk model, like a size 0.
Yeah.
But he then styles girls like Queen Latifah and Jessica Simpson, and who else is he? Heidi Klum, when she was pregnant, he would style her. So, I mean, I do think that it is the designer's responsibility to a certain degree, but in saying that, they just are putting their best foot forward.
It's their whole
well, that's the thing. It's not being proactive. Maybe it is their responsibility, but at the end of the day, these, restrictions in Israel and Spain, they're not working. So there needs to be a new approach.
Exactly.
Something else
It's about being proactive. So we've got another video. This is what Karl Lagerfeld had to say about everything.
make.
In France, there are 25%, 20% of girls between 15 and 25 who are beyond overweight. So the anorexics are not even 1%. So let's talk about what to do against the fat ones, because they may have more trouble later than the anorexic ones, who are very few. And the models who are anorexic, they are not in the shot. I never saw one. They are very skinny girls with skinny bones, narrow bone construction, but look at their faces. They don't look like sick persons. Huh?
I am really upset with this thin model story, whatever you want to call it. I think it's ridiculous. I mean, would you tell Picasso what colors to use on a canvas? No. Would you tell a florist what flowers to use? These designers are artists, and if they want to use a thin model and they're comfortable with doing that, then go for it. I mean, of course, someone is not going to use someone that looks like they're going to pass out. But I mean, they're young girls and they're naturally thin. And I don't think that any editor or designer should have to patrol somebody's refrigerator to see what they're eating or what they're not. No one's telling women that you have to be that thin. If you want to be size 14, go ahead and do it. This is just the way the designer chooses to show his collection. And there are a lot of designers that go up to size 14 and 16 and 18. I mean, and there's a lot of stores that you can shop in that have larger models.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, at the end of the day, it's kind of like everybody is responsible to a certain degree, and that's my stand on it. If a mother wants to let her 16-year-old child go walk in a runway and be exposed to all of this, great. Well, then the mother needs to take more responsibility for it. If the agency sees that they've got an underweight model, well, then they should step up and say something. At the end of the day, if the girl is the one who's doing this all to herself, somebody needs to help her. So that's kind of and then, everyone is responsible for their actions. It's a kind of roundabout debate, isn't it? It just goes around in circles.
Yeah, it makes me glad to know that the industry is actually more aware of it and trying to create measures, to solve it, and like getting older girls and establishing a weight limit. So I think that's supposed to be good enough.
Yeah. So you just think it's a matter of knowing yourself and knowing what you want?
I think it's a matter of controlling the industry.
Okay. Julia, what are your final thoughts?
I agree with that very accented woman from who knows where. I wish she was better. I wish she was more eloquent, but I agree with her completely that.
Yeah, same.
At the end of the day, obviously we're all susceptible to outside input, but we are responsible for our own actions. If a girl develops an eating disorder, you can blame, ultimately the decision was hers, and we need to help her other than point fingers.
Yeah,
so
I agree. But in saying that, I must give credit to the Philippines. Now, we've all worked in the Western country where guidelines and everything are completely different. All the things that it says, feeding the models. I think gosh, there's so much pizza, there's so much food backstage. If there's one thing that I can commend to the Philippines is that the producers of fashion shows, they do create a very nurturing and they do create a very healthy work environment. Sometimes I think to myself, gosh, we're here doing a swimsuit fashion show and they're feeding us yellow cab pizza? What's going on?
No, and I think here they are not so crazy about how thin you should be. You don't feel pressured about it.
Look at the main it girls. There's Georgina Wilson, there's Celine Newsoft, there's Ann Curtis, and they're all healthy girls. You see them, and I've never seen them super wave thin. I've never seen them pushing any of those borders. So I think I put that down to the fact that the Philippines have got quite a healthy mindset of what a model should be and a realistic expectation of what to expect from young girls who are walking up and down the catwalk. So I will hats off to us in the Philippines. But anyway, anything else? Anyone else have anything else to say? No? Okay, Marianna, thank you so much for coming in today. Where can we find you if our 28A viewers want to follow you?
Check me on Twitter and Instagram. It's Mari, Mari, Henud, Henud, all together.
There you go. So that's Instagram and Twitter.
Yes.
Wonderful. Okay, and I'm Tricia Santanera. This is Julia Snigowski. If you guys have any questions for us, please email us at thegirls28A or tweet us at thegirls28A. Julia, have fun sleeping the rest of the day.
Dream of us.
Anyway, have a great Sunday night, guys, and we will see you next week.
Bye.